Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog where I'm gonna be reading Morning Star. So Morning Star is the third book in the Rising Saga, which is a sci-fi series. And the first book, I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it, but I could definitely see the potential of me loving this series. There was a lot about the book and about the plot in general that sounded like something that I would absolutely love. So I obviously continued with the series, and book two I liked so much more, and I definitely got way more invested in the characters. And I mean, the plot I was already interested in, but I didn't really feel a strong emotional connection to the characters. But in book two I definitely started to. And the end of book two was absolutely insane, so you got me very excited but also very scared for what was going to happen in this one. But obviously mostly I was excited about going forward. And I will leave the links for the two previous videos in the description, and also the playlist up there. And there are spoilers about everything that happens in this book. And having said that, let's just get into the video. Okay, so I have read part one of Morning Star, and I got to page 92, which is definitely not a fourth. There are four parts, but the first part is definitely less than a fourth through the book. But I think I'm gonna update after each part anyway. And so basically in this first part, we learn that Darrow has basically been a prisoner of the Jackal for about a year, and most of that year he has spent in solitary confinement. So he's going kind of crazy, and also he's been kept with no chance to move, so he has muscle atrophy, he can't even walk. And after that year passes, other people are going there to get him for themselves, to basically dissect him and see how he was turned from a red into a gold. And so he's taken, and then actually two people to Grace are there to rescue him, basically sent by the Sons of Ares. And they those two Grace are siblings, and the three of them are escaping. But then Darrow learns that Victra, his friend, is alive, and she's there being kept as a prisoner. And he doesn't want to leave her behind, so he tells the others that they need to go save her. And so they go, they get Victra, and then they're again on their way out trying to escape, but the Golds basically catch up to them, and they actually kill one of the Greys, the guy. They kill him, and then they are in a lot of trouble. They are surrounded basically, but the Greys did call for help to go get them. And so the other Sons of Ares, some of them obviously, are on their way to get them, and they are basically coming from underground. And that scene was super cool, and they managed to escape. And so after Darrow recovers for a few days, he is basically reunited with his family, and he's reunited with some of his friends. And Severo is now Ares, basically, he's the one in charge. And he also learns who actually betrayed him to the Jackal. And he also visits a bunch of the people that are fighting in his revolution, basically, and some of the people that got hurt to rescue him. And he's really struggling, but talking with those people definitely helped him feeling he's home, he's where he belongs. And he wants to continue with this fight, although he doesn't fully agree with the way that Severo is leading with all of his plans. He also wants to send a message to Mustang to basically let her know that he's alive, even though he he's not sure like she will care, but he thinks that like there is still a chance that she might like help them, so he wants to send the message. And basically like in the last chapter he's talking to Victra and basically like trying to convince her to join the Sons of Ares, and she does end up agreeing to join the Sons of Ares. And that is pretty much what has happened. So like this was like a packed 90 pages. A lot has happened. It was like very explosive from the start, very action packed, and I'm already hooked. Like I'm already loving it. I'm already like stressed. I'm already worried about everything that's happening, but I'm like really liking it. And like I said, it was crazy from the start. So like definitely like hooked from page 1. And it was really hard to see like Darrow basically like being tortured. So, you know, that part was definitely not fun, but like overall I am really liking it. I am very excited to see where this goes, and also very scared because I feel like there are like for sure many more sad things that will happen in this book, and I am not ready. But like I said, on the other hand, I'm very excited to see where it goes. I'm very excited to see what happens, and yeah, so far so good. So far so great. Actually, I am really liking it. I am very invested already, and I don't have much to say for now because literally I just read 90 pages. So that's it for now, but it's going great, and I will talk to you after I read part 2. Okay, so I have made it to page 268 and got to part 3. And basically in part 2, at first like we see Victra and Darrow's like initiation to the Howlers, which was really funny. And then they learn like about a mission because they learn about a supposed silent partner of the Jackal, and so they want to like go kidnap that guy. And so they go on that mission, and Darrow and Severo really don't agree with what exactly to do or like how exactly to do things. And Darrow kind of like takes leadership, even though Severo is supposedly the leader. But because like now he's Ares, like after his father died, he became Ares. And so there's, you know, some tension between them, but it eventually gets resolved. So all good on that front. But they go to like where they need to go. They walk into a meeting that has a bunch of like familiar people, including Mustang. And there's like a huge fight, and then they like Mustang actually like leaves, but they manage to like get some people, including like the guy that they were going to kidnap in the first place, whose nickname is Quicksilver. And so basically like Darrow learns that Mustang is actually like on his side and has like helped some of his people. And also like that guy Quicksilver, he's actually one of the founding members of the Sons of Ares. So there's that. So like he's been on their side the whole time. And then like Darrow makes an announcement to the people, and like they need an army, obviously, if they're going to fight this war. And so they are going to get like an army from Ragnar's people, the Obsidians. And basically like the Obsidians, they mostly believe that the Golds are like actual gods, and like they would never fight against, you know, their gods. So they need to convince them that they're not gods, they're just like regular people, and they are enslaving them. So they are going with Ragnar, and like Mustang actually joins them at some point, and like someone attacks them, and so like their ship crashes, and they're like really hurt. They are in a lot of trouble. They're like some very dangerous creatures where the Obsidians live, and they like some of the people who attack them are Aja and Cassius. And Aja is like incredibly deadly, but Ragnar is convinced like he can fight her and that he can kill her. And so they do fight, but Aja actually kills Ragnar, which like I was not prepared for. Like I was worried about what was going to happen. I was worried people were going to die, but I was not expecting Ragnar to die. And I loved Ragnar, so that's like I was really unprepared, and I am really, really sad that he's dead. And just yeah, that was not fun. And Aja kind of like fell like down a cliff or something like that, but I'm pretty sure that she is sadly still alive. But then Ragnar's sister like gets there while he's dying, and she is a Valkyrie, and like Darrow and the others and Ragnar himself tell her like about what they're doing there. After Ragnar dies, she takes them to her mother, who is like the queen, and they talk to her and they're trying to convince her that the Golds are not gods, they're just people. And she actually like she has known that all along, but she will not fight against them. And so they are like basically taken as prisoners, but Darrow like is talking to Ragnar's sister, who's called Sephi, and he's like telling her that he will show her that they are not gods. And so she agrees to like be shown that, and they do show them that they're not gods, they are mortal, they're just Golds playing dress up basically. And so Sephi is convinced, and she wants to fight, and she wants to avenge her brother, and she like goes back to her mother. Her mother still doesn't want to fight, so she kills her mother, and then they kill like all the Golds that were pretending to be gods that were there, and now like the Valkyries are going to join Darrow and his people. And that is pretty much what happened in part 2. So like it was crazy, a lot of things happened, it was very action packed, and also it was very sad. Like I said, I was not ready at all for Ragnar to die, at least like this early on in the book, like before we even got to like the halfway point, which is pretty much like where I'm now. Like he died before we even got halfway through the book, and he appeared in book 2. So like I've known him for a book, and I loved him, and he's dead, and I don't know how to deal with that information. But I'm still really liking the book. I am very stressed. Like now I'm even more stressed. So there's that, but it is so good. I am so excited. There's like so much happening. It is crazy. It's very intense, and yeah, I'm very invested. I am obsessed, and yeah, that's it for now. I'm going to read part 3, which is up to page 386. So I'm gonna read like this, and part 3 is called Glory. I don't think they're gonna be very glorious yet. Although, like, I'm pretty sure that this book is gonna have like a satisfying ending, and with satisfying, I mean like a closed ending, because I think this series was like initially a trilogy. So like, at first the story ended with this book, I'm pretty sure. So like, the ending is gonna be like pretty closed, I think. Not sure it's gonna be, very happy. I don't think it will. I think like at most it's gonna be like bittersweet is what I'm feeling, but like it will be a sort of closed ending, I think. So yeah, I'm nervous, but I am very excited, and I will get back when I read part 3. Okay, so I have finished part 3. I'm at the start of part 4, obviously, and I made it to page 386. And so basically the first thing that happens in part 3 is Ragnar's funeral, which was just, so sad. But there was something like really like heartwarming that, I don't know if it was Darrow who said it or Severo. I think it was Severo actually. Yeah, it was Severo. He said, "I think he'd always thought himself a blade before he met us. We let him be what he wanted, a protector." And that was so cute, because like obsidians are literally used like as weapons, and that was like so cute but so sad at the same time. But anyway, that happens, and then they find out that the jackal has been like collecting a bunch of fuel and like weapons, and basically like the amount of weapons and like how powerful they are, with that like he could just destroy the whole planet, the whole of Mars. And so Darrow decides that he's going to basically take the fight away from Mars, because he's trying to like save his people and his home, and obviously he doesn't want to like get it destroyed in the process. And he basically, like, there are two huge like fleets in the like around the moons of Jupiter, and one of those fleets belongs to the Moon Lords, and the other is the Sword Armada, which is like it belongs to the Sovereign. And he basically wants to destroy that one. But for that, he needs the support of the Moon Lord. And so he goes to talk to the Moon Lord, but Rock is also there because he also wants the support of the Moon Lord. And so they are both like trying to convince the Moon Lord to help them, even though they're both like kind of his enemies as well. And they're giving their own argument, and like Darrow says that like he will give him the Sons of Ares that are in the rim, which is like that area, which is like something that's really hard for him to do, because basically he's fighting for the low colors in like the core, so like the inner planets, but he's going to basically like give them up in the rim. So that's something that's hard for him to do, but he does promise that. And he also lets him know that like the Jackal has like all of that fuel and all of those weapons, and the Moon Lord does agree to help Darrow. And then there is like the fight against the Sword Armada, and that was like some insane action, like that was crazy. And basically like Rock is losing, and he's like about to kill himself, and Darrow like really tries to stop him because they used to be friends, and he just doesn't want to let his old friend die. And like I really like in book 2, like in the beginning, I really like their friendship. I think I even mentioned like in my video that I thought they were like really cute. But then like after all of this, after this all happened, like after the betrayal, after he is now really like working for the Sovereign, working for the enemy, like I just don't care about him anymore. So like I was just like, I don't really care. Like I was sad for Darrow because like Rock does die. So like I was sad for Darrow because he's sad, but like about Rock himself, I didn't really care. But yeah, like they do destroy the Sword Armada, and then Darrow also destroys like the Moon Lord's dockyards in Ganymede. I'm not sure how you say that, but it's like one of the moons. And yeah, that is pretty much how it went in part 3. And I feel like less happened in this part than in the other parts, but still like an insane amount of things happened, and like some crazy action, like I said. So it was very intense, and I was nervous. I was on the edge of my seat, and thankfully no one that I cared about died in this part, so that was great, because like after Ragnar's death, I am just traumatized, honestly. So yeah, but still really loving the book, still very scared about what's to come, and yeah, that's it. So I have like around 130, I think, pages left, which is part 4, and I am gonna try to read that all today. And yeah, I am very excited, but I am so scared about what's gonna happen. But yeah, I'm gonna go, and I will be back once I finish it. Okay, so I finished Morning Star last night, and a lot happened in this last part. And so basically in the start of part 4, we see that Victra gets like Antonia, like her ships, and basically take them as prisoners. And then there is a like video released from the Jackal where he kills Darrow's uncle, and that like starts a huge confrontation within the Sons of Ares. Like the lower colors just start like wanting to kill all the gold, even the ones that are like working with them, and also all the prisoners that they have. And one of the prisoners that they have is Cassius. And so there is like this whole fight going on, and Sephi is like leading this fight against the golds, and she has like Cassius there, and she's going to kill him. And like Darrow is like, he goes there and he tries to stop it, but like he doesn't really manage to stop it. Like, they still want the girls to die. Sephi definitely still wants the girls to die. And then Severo gets there, and he is like talking to Cassius, and he asks like, "Did you kill my father?" And Cassius says, "Yes, I did." And then Severo's like, "Glad we cleared that up. He's a murderer. And what do we do to murderers?" And like the crowd goes crazy, and they just all want Cassius to die. And so like Severo hangs Cassius, and he's like, hanging there. And then he continues, "My name is Severo Albarca. I am Ares. I have killed 44 ghouls, 15 obsidians, 113 greys with my razor. Jove knows who else with ships, railguns, and pulse fists, with nukes, knives, sharp sticks. I am Ares. I am a murderer too. And what do we do to murderers?" And this time, like, no one answers because, like, everyone's confused with, like, what the hell's going on. And then he, like, hangs himself. And I was like, that is insane. Because, like, basically, to save Severo, like, Sephi had to cut them both down and therefore also saved Cassius. And that was crazy. Like, that was such an amazing scene, but that was crazy. And, like, at the end of that scene, he's like, "Cassius Apollona killed my father, but I forgive him. Why? Because he was protecting the world he knew. Because he was afraid. We are the new age, the new world, and if we're to show the way, then we better damn well make it a better one. I am Severo Abarca, and I am no longer afraid." Which, like, absolutely iconic. And, like, after that, Victra, like, goes talk to Severo, because, like, they have been having, like, a back and forth, and she proposes to him, and they get married, like, in a week or something. And then the Jackal, like, he starts, like, he has a conversation with Darrow, like, not face-to-face, like, a video call basically, and he's telling him, "You want to be hated, don't you?" Like, Darrow is telling Jackal, "You want to be hated, don't you? That's why you killed my uncle when you didn't need to. It gives you purpose. That's why you called me, to feel important, but I don't hate you. I pity you." And then, like, Mustang is also there, like, she also talks to her brother, and then at the end, Darrow tells him, "Adrius, we are coming for you. We will break your ships. We will storm Mars. We will burrow through the walls of your bunker. We will find you, and we will bring you to justice. And when you hang from the gallows, when the door beneath you opens, when your feet to the devil's dens, then you'll realize in that moment that this has all been for nothing, because there will be no one left to pull your feet." And I was like, oh shit. So that was also iconic. And then, like, they go, on their way to, like, what I was assuming was going to be the last battle, and they actually go to Luna, which is where the Sovereign is. And, like, Darrow knows that once the battle starts, they won't be able to protect Cassius, and he really doesn't want Cassius to die. So he is, like, trying to convince Severo to let him go, like, just let him go on his way. And they go to Cassius' cell, and Cassius promises that, like, he is not gonna fight against him, like, he's done with the fighting. Like, he says, "On my father, on Julian, I promise not to raise arms against any of you. If you let me go, I will leave, and I will never come back." And he tells Severo, "I don't know if your father was right, but he was brave. He extends a hand to Severo as he did to me. I'm sorry that he's not here." And Severo, like, lets him go. He shakes his hand, but then, like, Cassius doesn't let go of his hand, and he, like, attacks Severo. And I was like, what is going on? And, like, he shoots Severo, he kills Severo, and I was like, what is happening? And then he also, like, fights Darrow. He basically has him as a prisoner, and he releases Antonia, and they talk to the Sovereign, saying that they have Darrow as a prisoner and they're going to go meet her. And I was like, what do you mean? At that point, I had like 60 pages left, and I was like, what do you mean? How is this gonna get resolved in 60 pages? And I was, like, so angry. I was so pissed. I was so sad that I just, like, I didn't want to read anymore, but at the same time, like, I needed to know what was gonna happen. But, like, I sent my best friend a 8.5-minute audio ranting about everything that was happening. I was unwell. And then they get to the Sovereign. And first of all, like, the Sovereign is talking to Antonia because she left, like, she took her people and her ships and left when Rock basically, like, lost the battle against Darrow. And so, like, she actually kills Antonia for treason, which, like, was absolutely iconic. I loved every single second about that. And then she starts, like, a broadcast to kill Darrow and to, show everyone that she's killing Darrow. And then the Jackal says that, like, he wants to be the one to do it because, they have personal beef. And so Cassius gives him, like, Severo's pistol to kill Darrow with, and he's there to, like, kill Darrow. And then he shoots, but, like, there's no bullet. And I was like, what is happening? And so it turns out that it was all just a trick, and Cassius was actually on their side, and Severo was never dead. He just, like, faked his death.
And so they give him like a shot of something to wake him up, and they or like start fighting. They eventually like kill the Sovereign. They all fight Aja, and like I think it was like the four of them, like Darrow, Severo, Cassius, and Mustang, like all fighting Aja, and like they barely were able to kill her, so she is insane. And so yeah, they kill Aja, they kill the Sovereign, and the Jackal is like laughing, and they're like, what is going on? And it turns out that he has like all of his bombs on Luna. So he had like that's what he had like over the Sovereign. So basically he had made a deal with the Sovereign, and she was gonna make him like her successor in exchange for him not blowing up Luna. But now that she's dead, he was just gonna start blowing up the bombs, and he does start. And Lysander, I think that's the boy's name, so like the Sovereign's grandson, he says that like his godfather will actually be able to stop this. So like if they make the call to him and he talks to him, and so like they manage to do that, but like obviously there is a lot of chaos and destruction. And then they go to like a meeting where there are a bunch of gold present, and basically like Mustang is gonna be the new Sovereign, which I think is very iconic. And yeah, at the end they're all like reunited. Then at the end, yeah, the very last page, like something that Dara was thinking that I thought it was so cute. It says, I used to think the life strengths of my friends frayed around me because mine was too strong. Now I realize that when we are bound together, we make something unbreakable, something that lasts long after this life ends. My friends have filled the hollow carved in me by my wife's death. They've made me whole again. I was like, that is so cute. And then at the end, we find out that like what in the year that he like Dara was a prisoner, Mustang actually had a child, like their son. So they have a son, and he's called Pax, and that was like the end, and that was so cute. And I am still unwell from this book. Like the last 100 pages were an absolute roller coaster of emotions. I felt like literally every emotion possible. And yeah, let's go into my final thoughts. So starting off with the characters, I guess, and starting off with Darrow, obviously he's the main character. I continue to love him, and although I don't, absolutely love every single one of his decisions, like neither does he. And I was just like really stressed and really worried about him in the entire book. Not that I really thought he was gonna die, but like it was possible that he was gonna get really. Oh, I forgot to mention, they cut off his hand. How did I forget to mention that? They actually cut off his hand. Like when they were with the Sovereign, they cut off his right hand, and then they reattached it at the end. But he doesn't think that like he will be able to use the hand like as he did before. But like that happened. So yeah, I was very worried about him like throughout the whole book, and at the end I was very happy for him. And then Severo, like I also absolutely love Severo, and when I thought that he was dead, I was like destroyed. Like I was so sad, but yeah, I'm really glad that he's actually okay. And yeah, I love him. And Mustang, I also love her, and it was really nice to see her fighting alongside the Sons of Ares. And again, I think it's really iconic that she is new Sovereign. And Victor really, really grew on me. And I really like all the scenes with her and Darrow, and her and Severo are definitely very funny. They're an interesting pair for sure. And Ragnar, like, I will never get over his death. I am still so sad about it. This book, like, destroyed me. And yeah, like, this book was absolutely insane. I was hooked from page one, but I was also stressed and scared from page one. And, like, so much happened, like, throughout this book. So many crazy action scenes, like in the best way possible. So like when like after so many things have happened, and when you got like 60 pages from the end, and I thought like everything was going wrong, I was like, how is this possible? How is this happening? This is not okay. And like I said, like the last 100 pages were just a roller coaster of emotions. Like the highs and lows I went through in those 100 pages was crazy. Like this book just made me feel so much. I almost cried like 3 times, and I don't cry with books. I've cried with like maybe 3 books in my life. So like me almost crying is already like crazy. And I almost cried either like 3 or 4 times. But I also like was so happy when they had like their little victories, and also like at the end it was so cute. And yeah, like this book made me feel literally every possible emotion. And I was thinking of giving it 4.5 stars, which is a great rating. But like part 4, absolutely 5 stars. So yeah, I'm giving this book 5 stars. Because like it broke me, and then it kind of pieced me back together, and then it broke me again, and then it sort of pieced me back together. And I am still like not emotionally okay, because I finished it last night, and I felt exhausted after finishing this book. I was like, I need to go to sleep, and just hibernate, honestly, for a week. But, you know, sadly, I could not hibernate for a week, and I am here on the next day, but I still, like, feel emotionally drained from this book, but, like, in the best way possible. So, yeah, 5 stars, for sure. And, yeah, like, this is the conclusion to the initial trilogy. And now I'm scared for what comes after because, you know, things are obviously not ideal like the way that they ended, but they are okay. And obviously, they're not going to be okay anymore once I read the 4th book, which I think is set like 10 years after. So I'm definitely scared because everything's going to be ruined. And I am not prepared for that because these characters have already suffered so much. And I'm sure they will suffer even more. So, yay! And like, I don't want them to suffer more, but obviously I am excited to read more books about them and I am excited to get into the next books. But that is everything for this video. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you have enjoyed it. And if you did, give it a like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!